Hello and welcome to Pickles Garage. Today we are replacing the temperature sensor on this 1993 Z28 Camaro. It's going to be very similar for all F-body type vehicles, but let's go ahead and dive in. So this sensor is very important because it is going to be the one that is affecting your gauge here, and so naturally you're going to want to know what your temperature is at just to make sure that there's nothing catastrophic happening. The other thing is it actually helps communicate to your computer, and so it will make engine decisions based on the reading that it's getting. So your engine could be running poorly if this sensor is faulty. So if you notice that you're not really getting a good read on your temperature gauge here, it might be best to go ahead and replace this sensor. So pretty straightforward, pretty cheap. It's about $13 part, but let me go ahead and go under the hood and let's dive in. So now we're going to go ahead and look on the driver's side of the vehicle, and you'll see on the head right there is where the location of the temp sensor is. Now I obviously have aftermarket heads on mine, so I get a better view of it, but even if you have the stock exhaust manifold, you'll still be able to see it right in that location. Now, the one thing you are going to want to note is there's different versions of the temp sensor and its connection point. Obviously, mine's broken off, but for mine, it has this sort of connection, and so you just lift the tab, slide it out. But you'll want to pay attention to the shape and the different plugs because it's not the same on every single one. So definitely look at your old one before you go ahead and buy your new one. And I'll show you on the new one why this is the right plug for this one. So I typically get my parts from Rock Auto, but in this case I did go to Parts Geek and they were able to provide the part right here, 214-10026. It's about 13 bucks, not a big deal. Let me open it, unwrap it, and I'll show you the connection point. For if you have the old one, you can kind of reference what it's supposed to look like and what specific one you should get. So here you go, this is the new one. So if you're looking at your old one, it's not broken off like mine, you'll be able to see this shape. And if yours looks like that, then this will be the specific part that you need to get. Other ones just have like a metal tab, and those are still available out there, but it won't be this specific part number. So just keep that in mind. Best to just reference the old plug port. So now we're gonna go ahead and remove our old one. I am going to go ahead and put a bucket down below. There should be some coolant that could end up leaking out, so we're going to try and be quick with it. I'm going to remove the old one and then quickly put this new one back in. I'll give you the size of the wrench real quick before I do it. The other thing you'll notice is it does already have a sealant around the threads. You can of course add different Teflon for liquids onto it, but you definitely don't want to wrap anything around this point. This is what is giving you that indication. So if you are going to add more adhesive to it, just make sure it's only on the threads. So let me get you that size. Okay, so it looks like the closest one is going to be the 21 metric. So like I said, I have a bucket down below. I'm going to go ahead and get the old one taken out as fast as possible, exchange it with the new one, and then I will show you the final step. Also, as a reminder, you don't have to overly torque it too much. You know, there's still going to be a little bit hanging out against your, like you could fit your finger around and sort of grab the lip of the nut here. And so you'll be able to see that it doesn't go all the way, but it'll feel snug. And then you'll just want to make sure that that bump is on the top. You don't want to overdo it by any means. Now, filling up the coolant that you lost, fairly simple if you've never done it before. You just have to remove this cap and then you're going to fill this with your coolant, your approved coolant, and then go ahead and start the engine, and then it'll start to bubble down, and then you can replace the fluid as it bubbles down. Eventually it's going to get to a point where it doesn't really bubble down anymore. You can replace the cap back on, and then what I would do is go ahead and open this up with a screwdriver. This is basically going to help the line bleed because this is the highest point, and so as fluid is going through the system, you'll start to see air kind of bubble out, and then eventually once it's a very solid, you know, stream of liquid kind of spilling out, it's not going to squirt out or anything, but if it's dripping out a little bit, and go ahead and tighten that back up, that'll be bled for your system. And then once the engine cools down again, go ahead and remove the cap, and you can replace the fluid. I usually, the first 2-3 times that I drive it, after the engine cools, I go ahead and check and make sure. But usually once you bleed the line like this, there's usually not much that you have to replace. So thank you very much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.